Today's class, we are going to talk about LinkedIn, and I am here with Dodie Thompson with Peak Resumes, and she is phenomenal with resume writing and with your LinkedIn account, and I just want to say thank you for you coming today.
Thanks for having me.
And if you could tell me a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
So again, I'm a certified professional resume writer. I've got 2 other national certifications as a interview coach and as a LinkedIn profile writer. I belong to the Professional Association of Resume Writers and the National Resume Writers Association. I've been writing since 2005, and in that time I've worked with about 3,000 different client projects.
Oh my goodness. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is why I invited her here. Dodie actually helped me several months ago. I needed an updated resume. And just because you work for yourself, sometimes people feel like you don't need to have that. But I think it's very important because if you're wanting to grow your business or if you're wanting to do government contracting, you need that resume.
Or if you're going to apply for a small business loan, oftentimes they want that in the package. Or if you have an opportunity to partner with somebody else, they might request your resume.
Exactly. What we're going to talk about today is with your branding, a big part of that is your social media presence. And that doesn't always include Facebook.
Not always.
Not always Facebook. And be very careful with what you post on Facebook because people are watching and you could post something that is very offensive and lose any opportunity in the future.
And the digital trail's forever.
Exactly right. But one of the things that I did is I set up a LinkedIn account and I had no idea what I was doing.
Most people say the same thing.
No idea. I knew I needed to have one. The main question is when we are setting up our LinkedIn, what are some tips that can help us grow as a business?
So one of the first things to think about is who's your audience and who are you going to be communicating with through this form of social media. There's 3 main types of people that use LinkedIn. Obviously, one's the job seeker because that's what it was established for. The other one is networking, which is still a good tool even if you're not looking for employment. And the other is people who use LinkedIn to grow their business. They might be an entrepreneur like you. They might be in high-level sales. They might be in high-level customer service. So those are the 3 main people that are using LinkedIn. And so their content is going to be different. Why they're using it and their strategy to use it is going to be different.
Okay.
So it's fairly easy to set up a LinkedIn account. The app or on the computer version, laptop version, will walk you through setting up your LinkedIn account. So it's very easy. Just follow those directions. But what are some of the things that you need to think about? And I've got yours open.
Okay.
If we go top to bottom, you want to have a professional headshot. Obviously, you're a photographer. You have a fabulous headshot. The other thing to think about is the banner behind there, which is the blue graphic with the dots and lines that represent networking. You want to change that to your company logo. For somebody else who works for another organization, it would probably be that company's logo.
Okay.
For some people, they might not have a company logo. So what do they use behind there? They want to use a graphic image that represents what they do that makes sense for them. For example, a massage therapist wouldn't necessarily have someone skydiving out of an airplane. Might be a great action shot, but it doesn't make sense for what they do.
Right.
If they choose to use something that, like a local landmark, for example, here in the Pikes Peak region, don't use a Lars Lieber photograph on their LinkedIn profile because they don't own the copyright to it. Likewise, they can't use one of your photographs unless you give them copyright permission to use that. So they have to have copyright permission. So first thing is a good headshot, professional headshot. Think about the banner image and change that. And the next one is the headline. The headline establishes your brand message. Much like a newspaper article, magazine article, it establishes the brand message. It's 120 characters. And so for you, you've got CEO at Structure Therapeutic Massage and Bodywork. It's a little bit long, so you might focus that to what's your brand message.
Okay.
Let's think about Nike. Just do it.
Just do it. Okay.
So whatever your version of that is going to be, 120 characters.
Okay.
So you've established your brand message. When you go down to the About section, this expands on the brand message. You've got 2,000 characters where you can tell your story. This is high level because it's a summary. If you think about websites and they have the About section, they're not really getting into the details yet. Very high level. And so what is it that you want to convey to the reader? And that could be someone who is seeking a massage therapist. It could be someone who's looking to partner with you. It could be a wounded warrior. It could be another company that says, do I want to be involved with wounded warriors? And I'm going to research Jeanette. So you have to think about all that content. But it's 2,000 characters, but you also don't want it to be very dense. So in your example, you have several paragraphs, many lines. It probably looks different on the computer. It's probably only 5 lines, but when you look on the mobile device, it gets a little bit more dense. So those are the things you want to think about when you're composing your content. You want to write in first person because you're speaking to the reader. First person, it's a narrative, complete sentences. So I would have a little bit more white space in there. So those are just some of the things to think about. So as we keep going down, you've got your work experience section. So how much do you include and how much do you leave out of that work experience section depends on, again, who's your audience and what message you're trying to convey.
So it's like a resume, like you don't want to put jobs that you were not there for very long or you had a bad experience, or so you really want to make sure you're quality over quantity.
Focused and relevant to whoever your reader is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so each job section, you have another 2,000 characters to talk about in more detail what you do. So the about section is high level, you want to pique their interest. The experience section is more detailed, complete sentences, it's more of the narrative.
Okay. Okay. Now, what she was saying about the photo, the cover photo, so like with Facebook, you have your cover photo, then you have your profile photo. The cover photo, if you don't have an image, you can go to Pixabay. So it's Pixabay, Pixabay, and they have photos that you're allowed to use, royalty-free images there that you can use without having to pay for it or being sued that you use the photo, because they will track. If you take a photo from somebody's website, or what is it, the lady who does the baby pictures,
Geddes.
Yeah. So I actually had a friend who used a photo that she got off of a stock thing, and she used it, and she got sued. And she was like, well, I didn't know that I couldn't use it. But Pixabay is a very good resource for you to be able to go and get photos from there if you need to do that until you get. But it's better to do your own images than to use somebody else's.
And so people might say, why do I need to change that background banner? I've got my photo, that's me, that's my headshot. Why do I need something? It's a little bit more visual appeal. It makes you stand out from the 5 million users that are on LinkedIn. And there's only so much we can do within LinkedIn. It's not like a Word document on a resume where we can make it graphically, the image pleasing on the eye. So we have to work within the platform itself.
The goal is to get people to contact us, to go to our website and all that. How do we use LinkedIn to
support that?
To support that.
Right. So some people ask that, whether they're job seekers or they're small business. Why do I need LinkedIn? How's it going to support? I've already got a website. So LinkedIn can help increase your Google rankings. And the reason is it's a very reputable website. And if you have good, compelling content on there that mirrors, it's not the same word for word that's on your website or your other social media, but it's similar content, then you're going to increase your Google rankings. Because when someone does a keyword search, there's more places for those little spiders to go out and grab onto. You can also use LinkedIn to direct people where you want them to go. For example, your website. In LinkedIn, there is a contact section, but then you're forcing someone to click somewhere else. So tell them where you want them to go or how to contact you within the About section. And if you can do that in the first 500 characters, kind of like a banner, you know, this is the website for Structure Therapeutic, this is the phone number, they're not going to have to click anywhere else. They can say, oh, I can contact her.
Okay.
Likewise, down in the experience section, if you have a way that they can contact you once they've clicked on that, they don't have to go anywhere else. They can find you how to contact you or where you want them to go in the experience section. Oh. So when you have those URLs, now you have backlinks to where you want them.
Okay. So I have a question for you. So let's say I have 5 different businesses, and LinkedIn is the main one, is just about me and the business. But is it okay to have all of the different ones, or do we put that under experience and not like under where mine says CEO at Structure Therapeutic Massage and Bodywork Inc. and Executive Director of Structure for Wounded Warriors? Would it be better to say entrepreneur?
No, entrepreneur doesn't tell a reader anything other than you're in business for yourself.
Okay.
So what is your primary thing that you do? It's massage.
Massage.
So the headline needs to be around that theme because that's your brand. Okay. However you develop it and work on those 120 characters.
Okay.
But back to your question about multiple companies. You can have a LinkedIn profile for yourself, but each of your companies needs to have a LinkedIn profile. And here's why. If you look at Structure, that's the default image. It's a little gray building.
Okay.
And what does that tell the reader? There's no company. Really? You just said there's a company.
Oh.
So go back and create a Structure Therapeutic Massage company page, and then this picture will auto-populate with whatever logo that you put on there. You have to monitor that company page, because now it's another way for identity thieves to say, oh, I worked for Structure, and they really didn't, to make up their LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
So for each of those, Structure for Wounded Warriors needs to have its own page.
Okay.
And it's short, it's to the point, it's not like your personal page, but now you've given yourself and your companies more credibility.
When you say that we need a separate page for the business, is that through this profile or set up a whole separate account?
That's a whole separate account, and LinkedIn will walk you through that. You just go up here and how do I set up the company page?
Okay.
And they have directions on how to do that.
Okay, perfect.
And then you become the administrator of that page. But you still have to monitor it because you don't want other people to say, oh, I work for Structure, beef up there on LinkedIn, and they really do.
And they never did. I think if you hand somebody a business card, it should be for that specific business. If you meet them another time and you have the different business, then you can give them another business card for something else. But you never want to do 4 or 5 different businesses on one.
Because you confuse what your brand is.
Exactly. And what is it that they say? Jack of all trade, master at none.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be very careful with how you represent yourself and you represent your business. So those are really great tips. Linking to somebody else, like how do you do that? Do you ask people, hey, you want to connect with? How does that work?
So LinkedIn is going to encourage you to make connections because that's the bread and butter of what LinkedIn does, is those connections. There's 500 million users in 200 countries and 227 million active users. So there's a lot of people on LinkedIn. And the whole point is that networking. So the first thing is to see who are your second level connections, and LinkedIn will tell you that.
Okay.
And you might reach out to that person. We have a lot of connections in common, so we're automatically a second level connection.
Okay.
If you didn't know somebody, then you might choose to ask to be connected with them, and they'll give you an option to write a note. Hi, John Doe. I'm also a massage therapist. I see you're doing this really great work in California. I'd like to be connected on LinkedIn. Give them a reason why you're reaching out.
Okay.
If it's somebody you already know like me, you could just go ahead and send it without a note because we already know each other in the real world. And of course, I'm going to say, yes, let's get connected.
Right.
People you might know in town very loosely through other networking, you might also send them a note. I met you at BNI. I met you at the Tri Lakes Chamber. I'd like to connect with you on LinkedIn. We could have some synergy.
Right.
You explain why you're reaching out.
So it's better to make that connection because the reality business is connections. And it's not just about business, but people have to respect you personally in order for them to.
And you want to curate your network. You just don't want to build a network. 500 is the magic number that I keep hearing through the years of having a good, robust network. So if someone's going to do keyword search, that's part of the algorithm of how you're going to bubble up. So you want to try to get a good, robust network, but you want to curate it. You don't want to just connect with everybody because what happens to your feed is you get a bunch of noise coming in there. People that don't make sense for what you do, or they don't, what their values are don't align with your values, and their social media people just post anything.
Right.
LinkedIn polices itself a little bit more than Facebook. But again, you want to have connections that make sense for what you do.
Okay.
So it would be in your career field, it would be lateral to your career field, or something else that would be of interest to you. But curate your network so it makes sense for what you do.
Outstanding. I am excited about this. I was looking at it as I was telling Dodie before that we started this class. I set this up 4 or 5 years ago and then never touched it again. And I was like, I gotta get on there and fix it. I didn't even know what email address I used to set it up. So I have a lot of work to do. So this is exciting. I'm noticing that now people are doing like videos. Do you recommend people to do things like that? Or
again, it depends on who's your audience and what information are you trying to convey. So using a video on any form of social media is a great way to show that you're the subject matter expert in that particular field. So you can do videos, you can write articles, and you can post updates. So those are quick and easy 3 things that you could do on LinkedIn. So the updates are just like Facebook. They populate your news feed. You're going to see them, and then they're going to expire. The other one is articles, long-form articles, like writing a newspaper article or a magazine article that's going to live on your profile. It'll show up in everyone's feed that you're connected with, and then it'll also live on your profile.
okay.
Videos are the same way. For example, I work with an author, his name is Otis McGregor, and he does videos every week because he's a business coach.
Okay.
And that's how he shares his subject matter expertise.
Oh, awesome. Now, you can do this yourself, or you can hire a professional to do it.
I would just say, remember, it's part of your digital brand, and you need to manage your brand. If you have a only halfway done LinkedIn profile and someone does a Google search and they find that, what does that say about you and how you conduct your business? Maybe it says you're lazy because it's not complete, you haven't looked at it in several years, or it's old jobs that don't have anything to do with what you're doing now. So it's your reputation, manage your reputation, and once you get the hang of it and get good content on there, You're really just managing it. It's not that hard.
It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in
You're welcome.
and doing this class with us. We really appreciate you. In order to reach out to Ms. Doty, look in our resources page where we'll have a link there and contact information for you to contact her. She does resumes and LinkedIn across the nation.
Yes.
Also for small businesses, but as well as government contracting. So if you're interested in getting into that government contracting and just need a boost on your professionalism and on getting that done, give Doty a call.